Hello everyone, my name is John with the MAP 30 Challenge, and today we're going to be talking about a chemical approval process that's going to blow your mind. This is shocking how a company that produces the food that ends up in our grocery stores, that's likely in your kitchen right now, in your cupboard, that has ingredients in it or chemicals that has been approved by the company that's selling these products, then telling the FDA that these chemicals are safe. The FDA approves it, and then it ends up in your grocery store. If you've never been an ingredient reader or reading the labels on the back of a product, you probably will after this video. So let's just get into the video. What if I told you that 99% of the chemicals added to your food never get reviewed by the FDA? What if food companies can decide for themselves whether their new additives are safe without telling anyone and start selling them to you tomorrow? This isn't some regulatory oversight. This is the system working exactly as designed, and it's called the GRAS loophole, the biggest food safety scandal you've never heard of. GRAS stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. It was created in 1958 as part of the Food Additives Amendment, and the original idea made perfect sense. Common ingredients like salt, vinegar, and baking soda that had been used safely for centuries shouldn't have to go through expensive FDA testing. But here's what happened. In 1997, the FDA changed the rules in a way that completely broke the system. They decided that instead of the FDA determining what's generally recognized as safe, food companies could make that determination themselves. And here's the kicker. They don't even have to tell the FDA they're doing it. Companies can add new chemicals to your food, decide on their own that these chemicals are safe, and never inform the government or the public. Since 2000, according to Environmental Working Group analysis, food and chemical companies have used this loophole to approve nearly 99% of new food chemicals without any FDA oversight whatsoever. So now I want you to think about this. A company has two options. When they want to introduce a new chemical into their product, option number one, they can send it to the FDA for approval, and that process may take years, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars for approval, and then at the end of that process, it may still get rejected by the FDA. Or they have another option. They can hire their own scientists to come in and take a look at that chemical that they want to add to that product, have that scientist to say that it's safe, or GRAS, generally recognized as safe, then tell the FDA that they've had it scientifically approved, and then just add that chemical to the product and start selling it to you immediately. Now, of these two options, which do you think that a company that wants to introduce a new chemical into their product use? 99% choose option two. But it gets worse. The same companies that want to use these chemicals are the ones paying the scientists who decide they're safe. A 2022 study found that 7 individuals dominated 46% of GRAS expert panel positions from 2015 to 2020. These same experts routinely serve on panels for multiple companies, creating an incestuous system where the same people keep rubber stamping each other's chemicals. Environmental Working Group researcher Maricel Maffini put it perfectly. We simply do not have the information to vouch for the safety of many of these chemicals. Even former FDA Deputy Commissioner Michael Taylor admitted in 2014, we simply do not have the information to vouch for the safety of many of these chemicals. Let me give you some concrete examples of what this broken system allows. The Flavor and Extract Manufacturers Association has classified several possible carcinogens as GRAS. When pressed for safety data, they couldn't produce peer-reviewed studies proving these chemicals were safe. Companies have used the GRAS loophole to add everything from synthetic food dyes to processing aids to flavor enhancers. Many of these chemicals are banned or restricted in Europe, but they're perfectly legal in American food because a company-paid scientist said they were generally recognized as safe. Here's the most insane part. There are chemicals being added to your food right now that the FDA doesn't even know exist. Since notification is voluntary, companies can skip it entirely. Laura McCleary from Consumer Reports calls these the unknown ingredients that have never been reported at all, let alone publicly evaluated. Think about that. There are chemicals in your breakfast cereal, your energy drinks, your frozen dinners that no government agency has ever reviewed for safety. The only people who decided they were safe were the companies profiting from selling them to you. This system didn't happen by accident. It's the result of decades of industry lobbying to weaken FDA oversight. In 1997, when the FDA created the voluntary notification system, they claimed they could no longer devote substantial resources to reviewing GRAS substances. The agency was defunded and overwhelmed, so they handed safety determinations over to the industries they were supposed to regulate. It's regulatory capture in its purest form. The result is a system that prioritizes corporate profits over public safety. Companies save millions by avoiding FDA review, while consumers become unwitting test subjects for thousands of inadequately tested chemicals. Consumer Reports analyzed this system and concluded companies will still be able to introduce novel substances into food in secret without having to show they are safe. The agency also failed to fix the rampant conflicts of interest that affect the review process for ingredients. Want to know how broken this system is? Compare it to Europe. In the European Union, companies must prove their food additives are safe before they can be used. The burden of proof is on the company to demonstrate safety, not on regulators to prove harm. In America, it's the opposite. Companies can use chemicals until someone proves they're dangerous. And since the FDA doesn't even know most of these chemicals exist, that proof might never come. This is why hundreds of chemicals used in American food are banned in Europe. European regulators looked at the same science and said, not safe enough. American companies looked at the same science and said, good enough for Americans. The result is that American consumers are exposed to a chemical cocktail that would be illegal to serve in most developed countries. The GRAS loophole represents everything wrong with American food regulation. We've created a system where the fox guards the henhouse, where companies police themselves, and where corporate profits matter more than public health. Every time you eat processed food, you're consuming chemicals that may never have been independently reviewed for safety. You're participating in a massive, uncontrolled experiment where food companies are using American consumers as test subjects. The next time someone tells you the FDA protects your food safety, show them this story. Show them how 99% of new food chemicals bypass FDA review entirely. Show them how the agency that's supposed to protect you has handed that job over to the companies that profit from poisoning you. The documents are public. The system is exposed. The only question is, what are we going to do about it? Now, I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. We're going to be introducing a lot of content like this. We're going to be talking about the things that goes on behind the scenes that we're unaware of. We're going to be bringing that to the light to give us the information we need to make some better choices about the products that we consume. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video.